Built in 1980, the Georgia Guidestones are some of the most mysterious and controversial structures made in the United States within recent history. In July of 2022, the Guidestones were destroyed, and no one seems to understand why. What are these stones, and who made them, and why did somebody feel that they needed to be taken down? The Georgia Guidestones was a granite monument that stood in Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States. From 1980 to 2022, it was a 19-foot tall granite monument from 6 granite slabs, weighing a total of 237,000 pounds. The structure has been compared to Stonehedge, with some calling it the American equivalent. The monument's creators believed that there was going to be an upcoming social, nuclear, or economic calamity, and that they wanted a monument to serve as a guide for humanity in the world which would exist after it. They initially garnered little controversy, but they ultimately became the subject of many conspiracy theories, which many alleged that they were connected to the Illuminati or the New World Order. The construction of this monument was in June 1979, when a man using the pseudonym Robert C. Christian approached the Alberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of what they claim he said, a small group of loyal Americans, and commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass, calendar, and a clock, and should be able of withstanding catastrophic events. The man reportedly used the pseudonym as a reference to the Christian religion. Christian said that he wanted to build a granite monument that would rival the British monument of Stonehenge. He drew inspiration from the structure after he paid a visit to it. However, he said that while it was impressive, Stonehenge itself had no clear message of communication. Joe Fenley of Elberton Granite believed that Christian was mentally ill, and he attempted to discourage him by providing a quote for the commission, which was several times higher than any project which the company had previously undertaken, explaining that the construction of the Guidestones would require additional tools and consultants. To Fenley's surprise, though, Christian accepted the quote when arranging payment. Christian claimed that he represented a group planning to construct the Guidestones for 20 years and wanted to remain anonymous. The location was chosen because it contained a high amount of local granite and because the weather there would be ideal for the monument. The total cost of the project was not revealed, but it was well over $100,000 at the time, which in today's money would be the equivalent of a little over $373,000. Christian delivered a scale model of the Guidestones and 10 pages of specifications. The 5-acre site was purchased by Christian from a local farm owner. The monument was located off of Georgia State Route 77 and around 7 miles north of the city of Alberton. On March 22, 1980, the monument was unveiled by Congressman Doug Bernard before an audience of between 200 and 300 people. At the unveiling, the Master of Ceremonies read a message to the gathered audience, and it said, "In order to avoid debate, we, the sponsors of the Georgia Guidestones, have a simple message for human beings. Now and for the future, we believe our precepts are sound, and they must stand on their own merits." Christian later transferred ownership of the land and the Guidestones to Elbert County. By 1981, a barbed wire fence had been erected around the monument. A man who identified himself as Robert Christian published a book titled Common Sense Renewed in 1986, which described the ideology of the Guidestones. The author wrote, "I am the originator of the Georgia Guidestones and the sole author of its inscriptions. I have had the assistance of a number of other American citizens in bringing the monument into being. We have no mysterious purpose or ulterior motives. We seek common sense pathways to a peaceful world, without bias for particular creeds or philosophies." Robert Christian, 1986. Fenley believed that the monument would become a regional tourist attraction, and as of 2022, 20,000 annual visitors were reported each year. In 2008, the stones were defaced with polyurethane paint and graffiti with slogans such as "Death to the New World Order." In September of 2014, an employee of the Elbert County Maintenance Department contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation when the stones were vandalized with graffiti including the phrase, "I am Isis, Goddess of Love." After the acts of vandalism, security cameras were installed on the site, which many of the locals claimed was just an excuse. Candace Taylor, a candidate in the 2022 Georgia Republican Party, called the Guidestones satanic in a campaign ad. Her campaign platform called for the monument to be removed. And ironically, on July 6, 2022, an explosion occurred at the site, destroying one of the slabs of the monument and causing significant damage to the capstone. Nearby residents reportedly heard and felt explosions at around 4 a.m., and the CCTV footage recorded a vehicle leaving the scene. The remaining stones were dismantled by authorities for safety reasons that they claimed. Later in the day, on the evening of the bombing, the GBI released a video showing both the explosion and a vehicle of interest leaving the scene shortly. Interesting enough though, it is quite fascinating that someone would go through so much trouble to destroy a seemingly harmless monument. However though, it is quite interesting to point out on what the monument actually had inscripted on it. Here's what was written on the monument itself. A message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles was engraved on the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages, one language on each face of the 4 large upright stones, moving clockwise around the structure from due north. These languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. According to the monument sponsors, the inscriptions are meant to guide humanity to conserve nature after a nuclear war, which the creators thought was an imminent threat. Here is what was written on the Guidestones. The inscription reads, 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And 10. Be not a cancer on the earth, and leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Additionally, a few feet to the west of the monument, an additional granite ledger had been set level with the ground. This tablet identified the structure and the languages used on it, and listed various facts about the size, weight, and astronomical features of the stones, the date it was installed, and the sponsors of the project. It referred to a time capsule buried under the tablet, but blank spaces on the stone intended for filling in the dates on which the capsule was buried and was to be opened had not been inscribed, so it was uncertain if the time capsule was ever actually put in place. During the removal of the monument in July of 2022, county officials dug 6 feet down underneath this tablet to check for a time capsule, but claimed they found nothing. At the top center of the tablet, this is what was written: "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." Around the edges of the square were written translations to 4 ancient languages, one per edge, starting from the top and proceeding clockwise. The languages were Babylonian, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Ancient Egyptian in hieroglyphics. The Guidestones became a subject of interest for conspiracy theorists, and some claimed that they were the 10 Commandments of the Antichrist. Whatever these Guidestones were, they definitely raised some questions on who really built them and why. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. Until next time.